Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Keith and today I'm back with another medical technology related video. Okay, so the video that I'm going to be doing today is actually a little bit similar to what I did like 3 months ago when I was talking about my personal experience as a medical technologist student in my previous university. But today I'm especially highlighting the parts wherein I stated about some tips and like tricks, I guess, the things that I did on how I passed the course. Well, anyways, without any further ado, let's get started. Just in case you guys are wondering why I'm looking down most of the time, it's because I'm looking at my phone since I do have my list over here. I did come prepared. First thing that I am going to tell you is have a study schedule and stick with it. This is just what I recommend because this worked for me. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Have a study schedule and stick with it. You have to be disciplined enough to stick on what you have scheduled to study for during that day because in our school, in our university, we have certain days assigned to one specific subject. Like for example, it goes like this. So during Monday, we have clinical chemistry. I can't really exactly remember anymore because I think it has been 2 years roughly since I graduated. So this is just an example, but this is the scenario. So Monday we have clinical chemistry. The next day we have clinical microscopy. The next day we have microbiology. So like they have certain days specifically assigned to subject, so you would know what subject to study for first. So if you know during Monday that you'll have a long lecture exam on clinical chemistry, then you know during Sunday or during the weekends you would focus more on the subject and study on that. So yeah, that's what I do. And then as for my schedule, it is like this. So the latest class would probably finish at around 6 p.m. but that's not every day because sometimes our class will finish at 4 depending on what schedule we have on that day. So if my class would finish at 6 p.m. it's quite late and it's the rush hour. I live in Lapu-Lapu City, so you know how the traffic is really bad in here. What I do is I don't go home yet. I go to McDonald's, which is right across the school, and I would stay there and eat my dinner there and rewrite my notes, I guess, or I do record our discussions, so I would listen to the parts where I got confused about and then write notes. So while waiting for the rush hour to die down, I wait for my dad, and he would usually finish work by 6:30 and then he would pick me up from McDonald's, and then we go home, and while on the car I would rest or read a little. I don't really force myself to go into hardcore studying during that time because I do take my time to rest while I'm in the car because I know when I get home I will immediately start studying, like getting really into the details and memorizing and stuff. So I just familiarize whatever I can. If my class would finish at 4 p.m. though, that's when I'm really happy because I still get the time to take a nap. So when I get home, I shower and then I take a nap, and I would wake up at around 6:30 or 7 in the evening, and then that's when I eat my dinner and drink my coffee, and then I would start studying, and then I would usually finish at around 2 in the morning, and if the coverage is really lengthy, then I would finish at like around 3, and then I go back to sleep, and then I wake up at 6 a.m. if like we have an early class. So that has been the cycle. If you do get like 4 hours of sleep, that's like more than enough, and I'd be really happy if I do get 4 hours because you don't have that kind of luxury while you are taking up medical technology. There's just too much to familiarize and memorize, so many information that you have to remember in so little time. So that's just what happens, and it's very important that you stick with the schedule that you are making and concentrate on one subject at a time. What I did was I just focused on one subject and made sure that I finished it. Well, I can never really finish anything, but like made sure that I at least study more than half of that subject, and then I would finish studying it tomorrow before the exam. Yeah, so that's what I did, and I don't really like mix up everything and try to like memorize information from different subject. I just try to focus on a subject that I have an exam on the next day. So that's what I mean with have a study schedule and stick with it. You know, if you're not good at, well, I actually do multitask, but like not in a way that I multitask into studying different subjects at a time. I study one subject and then I watch a movie just to keep myself awake. And that's what I do. It's very effective for me, but if you get easily distracted with a movie, then don't do it. Don't do it, okay? Focus. You need to focus. The next thing that I'm going to tell you guys is very important, and I know it's easier said than done, but try to discipline yourself. Less social media. If you can't really get a hold of yourself into viewing or going through your social media accounts, then set a timer for it. As for me, when I'm studying, I can't really stop myself from viewing Facebook or going on YouTube. I do set a timer, so if I have a study break, I do have 30-minute break for each session. Then I would spend 30 minutes to maybe make myself another cup of coffee and then going through social media. But once the 30-minute break is over, then I'm gonna put my phone down and I am going to focus on studying. It's very difficult because sometimes I do enjoy watching a lot of just random videos on YouTube on like morning routines, you know, those kind of vlogs. I'm always watching those, and it usually takes up about 8 minutes, 7 minutes and everything. And then if you don't stop yourself, if you don't set a timer, you wouldn't even notice the time. You wouldn't notice that you are already an hour on YouTube or Facebook. So it's very important for you to set time. And when your alarm goes off, then put your phone down, focus, and set your mind that you are going to study, because the goal here is to pass. Because we're going to spend a lot of time on Facebook, like what would be the benefit of that? People might think it's a stress reliever, but if you are going to spend most of your time on social media, you'd fail your exam. So you should go back to studying. Set a certain time on like how much you would want to spend on social media, but don't let it take over you. Don't let it lose your focus. That's just what I did, since I cannot really like go on straight on my study sessions without really viewing the social media, because I do watch a lot of YouTube videos. So yeah, a lot of people probably are sad because they don't really have enough time to socialize with friends anymore. But in my case, I really had fun when my friends were still there with me during the first semester, because there was a balance between my social life and my study life. So I wasn't too stressed out about my academics, because I have my friends and they're great people, and even now I'm still very close to them. And you know, we went our separate ways. We do put a limit on the time that we spend going out, because we still have a lot of things to study for. So you have to set aside those fun things that you have to do with your friends, or those plans. If you know that you have an exam, then postpone those things, because you need to know what your priorities are. It's very important for you to really know your priorities and still have fun, because it's very important. I really got depressed when I don't really have that kind of balance anymore in my life, and all I really did was study, and I just never got a break. And yeah, because I don't really go out anymore. Whenever I do have a little time in my hand, I would just spend the day sleeping, like, because I am that tired from like late nights of studying. Okay, so the next one, this is very important, something important that I have learned. It's do not try to compare your progress to other people, because I used to get so stressed out when someone would tell me that, oh, I finished everything, I finished reading everything. I finished reading 3 chapters. I finished reading 2 chapters, but then I realized they have their own way of studying, and what some of them would do, they would read everything first and get an overview of everything before they go into the smallest details of specific chapters that we have to study on. As for me, I focus on one topic at a time, go over it over and over again until I actually memorize and familiarize and understand a certain topic before I proceed to the next. So I might think it's a slow progress, but I've actually mastered this part already, so I don't have to go over this certain topic again and I can proceed to the next one. As for them, they have read everything, yes, but they have to go over the other chapter again just to start memorizing it and going over it to familiarize everything detail by detail. As for me, I've done that already. If you try to compare your progress to other people, that would just stress you out and you wouldn't be able to concentrate on your exam and what you're going to study about. So when you're studying, stop thinking about other people, stop thinking about the progress that they have made. Focus on yours. That's all that matters. So the next one is, this has been my problem sometimes, like when I first started college, because I was very lazy to take down notes, but those were minor subjects. But when the real deal started, I went into the 3rd year, there were a lot of side notes that I have to write, so you have to be very diligent in writing notes, because this is what I do. I do take down notes, but also I record the lessons during that day what the teacher is discussing, but then the lesson is like an hour long, so you don't really have the luxury of time to go over everything again and rewrite them. So as much as you can, just just write down your notes, take down side notes, be very diligent, because you wouldn't have enough time to listen all throughout the recording. I do rewrite a lot of my notes, but only the parts where it's very messy. And then another thing is, find a technique which is easier for you and what works for you. So as for me, I'm kind of a visual learner, so what I do is I rewrite my notes, right, but then I actually tabulate them, so it's easier for me to remember. Whenever I make my notes, it has to be in a table. Like for certain analytes, it's a different table. For another analyte, it's another table. So I would remember, okay, this analyte was here on the left side on the first page. It was around here somewhere. So I would remember how it is in my brain. Like I would remember where it was, like if it was on the left side of the page, if it was on the right side, and sometimes it does help me a lot. The next thing is, this is the last thing that I'm going to talk about. Never give up. I know I have said this in my previous video. I'm gonna say this again now because this has helped me all throughout my journey, and I feel like not a lot of students would appreciate this, especially when you're having a hard time right now studying, because you wouldn't really realize the weight of these words. But it's the same thing for me. I get mad whenever someone would say never give up, because I'm like, you're invalidating my feelings. Like, this is very hard. Like, how can you not say to not give up when I am at the verge of giving up? I'm very dramatic, probably because from stress, but then you would really thank yourself at the end of the day when you graduate and get your license, get your job. You would really thank yourself for not giving up. So it's very important to have a support system as well while you are studying. As for me, I easily get depressed, and I do have anxiety, so I'm just very lucky that when I was studying, it wasn't so far away from my parents. Yeah, but I tend to keep to myself, so it gets depressing sometimes. When I started to open up, that's when I felt a lot better. So never give up. If you're having a hard time right now, just go through it and just be brave. Take the exam, and you know what, failure is actually a part of the journey, so you shouldn't, I know this is easier said than done, but do not take that as something very negative. take that as something that would motivate you to do better the next time. And that's it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope everything that I've said would help you out. Remember to never give up and set your priorities straight. Focus on studying. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!